Now Porter is zoned by San Antonio. Porter guarded by Derek White. There's a good defender. Now Porter steps back. 3 ball on the way. That's good. 2 rebounds. Shot 6 for 10. Now Porter plants up another one. That's good. Not so excited of a cool.
Hey. Jokic dump it into Millsap. Millsap swatted. Gives it to Porter. Another 3. That's good too.
Start it up, baby.
Oh, do it to me.
2 times in a row.
I
You
feel
knew it was
something
coming, though.
I feel something inside.
Oh, my goodness. Play that. That's my favorite tune right there. That is the Michael Porter Jr. has arrived. That's the Michael Porter Jr. is the missing piece. That is the Michael Porter Jr. is a 30-point per game scorer in back-to-back nights. Love that song. Love that jam. Welcome in, everybody, to the DNVR show. Look at Eric there, socially responsibly distancing here behind a mask.
I'm here at the bar.
DNVR bar.
I'm here at the bar. I want to make sure that I'm got 6 feet before. You know what? I think I'm good. I'm safe.
You're good?
All right.
Are you good? Alone
I'm good.
at the bar at the moment?
Let's go.
Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Winners Lounge. God, guys, these Winners Lounges are I'm never gonna get tired of them. Never.
Well, especially ones like these, man. I mean,
Especially lit ones like this. This is
there's
insane,
Winners
guys.
Lounge and Michael Porter Jr. Lounge.
Look at Brendan. Looks like he's in the Bender Lounge. Look at him. He looks like he's been out all night. I like everything I'm seeing right here.
I'd say he looks like he's on a cruise, ship. With
He looks like he's on a
stepchildren.
like a bender on a cruise.
I placed my first sports bet today, guys. I won $120 in like 19 minutes. MPJ.
So welcome in, everybody, to the Winners Lounge here. We're doing this one remote because it's a full Denver sports day at the Denver Sports Bar, the DNVR bar. And so we're here today. We're going to be back in studio tomorrow. I'm Adam Matas. I'm joined by Brendan Vogt, joined by D-Line Co. Guys who need little introduction. You know who else needs little introduction now? Who maybe needed a little bit more of an introduction, say, 4 days ago? Michael Porter Jr. I honestly think this, guys. I mean, this was another game, and he's not the only story here. But I know they're like some of the more militant diehards are going to say, like, oh, we got to talk about all the other guys. A lot of contributors in this game. But, guys, Michael Porter Jr., 11 of 19, 30 points, 15 rebounds, back-to-back games where he doesn't just look like a good player. To me, he looks like a superstar player. Even right now, I'm talking about right now, he looks like second best player on the court tonight. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Second best
without question.
to Jokic, right? So, yeah, easily. And that's after being, I think, the best player on the floor last game, too.
Yeah. I mean, this was an incredible goal. We will always start off. Everybody, if you have some stuff in the comments, tweet at DNVR. Keep the comments coming. We're going to interact. That's the whole point of this show. We want to talk to you, hear from you guys. Harrison Wind right now on the phone as we speak with Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., and Michael Malone. He's going to get their thoughts and share them with us here momentarily. Eric, big takeaway. Am I jumping the gun here? I mean, the big takeaway is Michael Porter, isn't it?
The big takeaway is absolutely Michael Porter. Another big takeaway is apparently the Avs just scored. The DNVR bar just erupted.
It's a party in Denver.
It's an absolute party. No, it's, I mean, you know, like the first quarter started, we all had banged the 15.5 points for Michael Porter Jr. He almost got it in the first quarter of the game. And then it started to slow down a little bit. We wondered if maybe we were, like Adam likes to talk about, had we become Icarus and flown too close to the sun? But it turns out that we just needed to wait for the second half to come. We get right smack in the middle of the sun, no problem.
It really is true. Oh my gosh! So apparently we're just seeing this. Do you have the tweet that guy?
I just sent it to Guy.
It just sent it in the chat there. Gregg Popovich. Gregg Popovich is a Jokic guy, man. I mean, I'm telling you. I was joking with somebody the other day where I said Jokic is the quintessential big man for Gregg Popovich, which of course that's Tim Duncan. But I don't know. I think Jokic might be just right up there. He just says after the game he's the reincarnation of Larry Bird. Oh, and look at that first reaction. Look at the hater. Get that hater out of my screen. I love it. We've been saying it for years. I feel validated.
We've been saying it for a long time. It's apt.
Are we allowed to reincarnate someone that's not dead?
It's a fair point. It's a really fair point.
He's the second coming of Larry. I don't know.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, and Luka Doncic, I think, is kind of cut from this cloth as well. I mean, these are guys with immense skill, despite having relatively in the NBA limited athleticism. But also just there's basketball IQ and there's basketball what would you call it, instinct, feel. I mean, whatever Bird and Jokic have, where the eyes in the back of the head, it's always been apt. And if you go back and check their sophomore seasons, throw Jokic's numbers in per 36, it's identical to Larry Bird.
I know.
So this is not a stretch.
I mean, how much fun is this? It's funny, Eric, because you think back to 4 days ago, and I remember how depressed you were. You were really mopey. You were really, really tough to have to deal with and handle.
Yeah.
But
I think you unfriended me, actually.
I think you unfollowed you on every platform imaginable. But no, it's such a turnaround. And, for Denver, what I like about this game in particular is that we've all known that Jokic can carry teams. I mean, we've talked about Jokic carrying a shorthanded Nuggets team for 3 years now, right? 3 years the Nuggets have run into something where it's like, oh, man, there's 2-3 starters out. You get that, but this time you'd have an aging Millsap. There's no Jamal Murray there. There's you start to wonder what's going to happen, but once again, you get Michael Porter, you get Nikola Jokic, and then you get everybody else doing their role and playing solid. I mean, this was a lot of guys had, I thought, solid games tonight, and you can get out. Look at oh my God, a winner shot. Are you kidding me? What is it today?
The winner shot. Hold on. Actually, the winner shot is Purple Rain, made in honor of our beloved Colorado Rockies. I'll tell you how it is. Hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
I love this comment. It's
really good. Right? It's really good.
The Nuggets actually do have 7-foot-tall Larry Bird and rebound fetish Kevin Durant. So
rebound fetish KD is funny. Wild. It's funny because honestly, Michael Porter he had 15 rebounds tonight, and 15 rebounds to me, I don't think he's going to average 15 rebounds, but I really do think he's a double-digit rebound guy. It's just, it's funny, too, because I feel like it's his trigger. That first game, he had 1 rebound. He didn't have any energy. The shots will fall or they won't fall, but when he just puts his mind at getting to the board, it seems like good things happen. And both last game and this game, he's in double-figure rebounds, and it just seems like that's the trigger that starts everything, every other aspect of his game. And then next thing you know, you look up, he's got 24, 26, 28. The points come natural. It's that other stuff that I feel like he can really get himself going.
It's funny. I talked about this on DNVR Bets with Andre Simone, and what was the line on his total points? And it was 15.5.
The easiest $20 I ever made.
I sent this to you, Adam. What's the determining factor if MPJ scores 15 or not? Did he play? Did he start?
Right. Yeah.
If he's playing 30
was he allowed
minutes,
to shoot?
Someone on the timeline, I think it might have been our guy Adrian down in Australia, tweeted, MPJ is not hot right now. This is just how good he is. And I think that's a really good way of putting it. This looks more like a baseline and less like Linsanity to me.
100%. I mean, I fully believe this because it wasn't just that he was knocking down shots or whatever today or, this or that. Tonight it was, he bent the defense. The Nuggets are starting now. It's funny because before we were talking about cuts and maybe some of these tough threes that he hits or whatever, the Nuggets are now starting to really include him as a key piece of the offense, not just as a, hey, let's run this play for him, but a, hey, let's stick him right here on the court so that when we run the Monte Jokic pick and roll, we're bending the defense in uncomfortable ways, and it works to perfection. It makes me think that as good as Monte is and as steady as he is, what happens when you put a third guy like that on the court, a Jamal Murray, where you can't help off of him? To me, it's just so promising. You can see offensively how the pieces all come together, and to me, that's what watching these last 2 games have been. You watch it and you go, wow, Denver has another oh shit guy, where the defense has to look over and go, oh shit, we have to get on him.
And
I love those shit guys.
Staggered this tonight, right? So that one of MPJ or Jokic was on the floor at the same time, and I think you're throwing Murray into that mix, and you're going to have less of these lulls where it's like, can Jeremy Grant and Monte Morris give us something? I mean, that's not really what you're looking for in the postseason, and I don't think that's what they'll need in the postseason, assuming Jamal Murray, Will Barton are ready to go. Gary Harris, of course, as well.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, we talk a lot about, Will Barton and Gary Harrison, like, oh, they're, a letdown in this way or this way. Tonight you saw, and a lot of times, especially against mediocre teams, 2 guys is enough. You have your 2 main guys, and then everybody else fills in. You add a third one. Will Barton doesn't need to score 20 points. He can, and some nights he will, but he doesn't need to. Now you have these other guys that are bending the court in so many different ways, and you can, to your point, Brendan, you're always going to have one of Murray, MPJ, or Jokic on the court. Oftentimes you're going to have 2, and some of the times you're going to have 3, and that's just going forward. I really do believe this. Denver was missing the third dynamic player, and to me, It was clear in January and early February that Michael Porter was that guy, but watching him now do it on this stage and to the level that he's doing it now that he's given minutes, there's no question in my mind, if he stays healthy, he is Denver's third piece. He might actually be their first or second piece, but I'm just saying he's the third member in that tier where you say, okay, it works.
So, I think guys pulling this up now. Michael Porter Jr., first NBA rookie ever, 30
Unreal.
points, 15 rebounds, 5 3-quarters. By the way, this comes after the game where he put up 37 on 16
the first
shots,
NBA rookie ever, not just this season?
That's what Harrison Wind is telling us.
I mean,
for ESPN
it's a very
info.
unique skill set, right? Because 30 points and 5 3-pointers, you think, okay, a shooter, but 15 rebounds. Now you're talking about, oh, okay, this is a big man. Well, no, it's not quite a big man because he's got the 3-point. He's really just a tall wing, a super tall, super athletic wing. Wow. And his skill set, his athleticism is specifically designed for him to get those types of rebounds because he's so quick, he's so long, his reach is so high. He just beats everybody to the boards, man. I mean, his rebounding is such a pleasant surprise. He is an elite rebounder.
And a little thin, right? Obviously still in his rookie season and all that and all the injury concerns, but nothing about his game seems soft right now. I mean, sticking your nose into the boards the way he has. He can get muscled off the ball, but I mean, I don't know. He's getting in there. He's playing rough and tough. And the fourth quarter, there were a couple of moments, to your point, Adam, where I think Derek White was stuck on MPJ. Yoke had the ball in the low post, and White was helping off of him. And I just couldn't believe it. And I mean, I know you have to send help to Yoke, but this is the best passing big man in the game with what looks to be like Kevin Durant or whatever on the wing. Like, what do you do? And so if Jamal Murray is out there, you're seeing more and more of those scenarios. And then you get to, all right, are they predictable? Well, maybe, but they're still a nightmare to guard. I mean, what do you do about that?
But
it's crazy too.
I like. Oh, go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's crazy too. If he gets the ball in around the basket, it goes in every time. Like it's not like Jeremy Grant, Paul Millsap, all the
Torrey Craig, where you're just
Torrey Craig. These guys, they go up and you're like, okay, like there's a good chance maybe they'll get blocked or something. Like if he rebounds the ball, or if Jokic hits him on a back cut, like right by the basket, it's good. It's money every time. He'll slam it or put it in.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
And he had that smooth one at the end of the game, kind of really just the sealer, where he drives up, looks like he was going to tomahawk dunk it on somebody, and he just kind of like he does this where he jumps higher and also hangs longer in the air than everybody. Yep. So there's a lot of guys that jump to block him, and they're on the ground, they're on the feet by the time he's just finally putting the ball up, and it's just. I mean, he just glides through the air. I mean, just so exciting watching him play. It's the other thing is, we've enjoyed this Nuggets team now for 4.5 years, this run that they're on, and sort of the way that we've been covering them in our different places. But there was this element of staleness to the Nuggets. Yeah. I think both from they need a shakeup, but also as a fan watching it, it's like, okay, it's the same rhythms, it's the same things. Like we kind of know what a good game looks like, a bad game, and you just get the mix. Watching Michael Porter, good or bad, watching him is just like this whole new element of what's going to happen next. And to me, that's been the most enjoyable part of these last two games, has been on a play-by-play basis, you're kind of like unwrapping a new present. At least that's how I feel.
Couldn't agree more. And it's particularly awesome because, for the most part, the dialogue around that was, how do they get that externally? How do they get that jolt? What's the trade they make? Can they find a signing? And, I mean, how perfect, especially for the We Don't Skip Steps team, that perhaps the answer, and I'm going to say definitely now, the answer was sitting on their bench and fell to them at 14. That is as exciting as it gets.
We somehow skipped steps by not skipping them. Like, you're not supposed to just get a superstar that falling into your lap through the draft that you didn't earn without having to tank. You didn't have to trust any processes.
They weren't going to get a guy of this caliber unless they traded away someone of Murray's caliber. It just wasn't going to happen, and they weren't going to sign that guy. So... for it to happen in the draft, for it to happen the way it did. And then, look, over the last 3 years, every time the Nuggets have dealt with an untimely injury, we've learned something new about the team in a pleasantly surprising fashion.
That's a great point. I love this point.
What could be, none of them top what's happened this time, which, none of our guys, well, what did we learn about ourselves this time? Forget 2 years from now. Forget 3 years from now. Let's believe in ourselves right now. We're good.
Let's go, baby.
And that's such a winning mantra. The whole of there's no failures, there's just lessons, right? And that's kind of where Denver has been throughout this process. It's kind of corny to say, but the next man up mentality. But there really is this. Okay, Denver's lost a bunch of important production, and if they get to the playoffs, it'd be a disaster if they don't have all those guys. I think it would be a disaster. Playoffs are different. Totally. But this opportunity. has allowed us to see Bol Bol. It's allowed Michael Porter to, I think, definitively break, and we're going to talk about this later, but definitively break into the rotation. But I think he's even, talk about skipping steps, I think he skipped the step of, is he in the rotation? I think he's now at the step of, like...
That's what I mean. They did skip the steps.
He's one of the three guys. He's one of the three guys.
Yeah, he went from being like bench to starter, and now he's somehow goes from bench to starter to our second best player.
Leave this question up, guy, because I love this one. In hindsight, did Malone handle this year with MPJ well?
Yes, he
did. No skipping steps. Look at Eric wants to take a victory lap. Go for it, Eric. Here you go.
Hold on, I've got a little bit left in this victory shot.
Look at this.
Gonna lick the bottom of that, dude. Absolutely, and it's funny because I don't feel like the Nuggets as a team have taken a step forward. Like the team, the way that they play as a team has not really progressed from last year. Like we saw years ago, where the ball was popping. It was very team-oriented basketball. They learned to play as a unit. But Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. specifically have taken major steps forward, and it has propelled the team forward. And so, it's like not exactly the script that was laid out, but at a certain point, like that's NBA basketball, right? You just need to have one guy, two guy, three guys step up and just be the man.
And I think it's a great point what you said about, like, sometimes you don't see the fruits of labor in real time. Like, okay, every day you work a little harder and you get resulted equal to what it is. Some of this MPJ stuff I really do think was, like, there was a foundation in place. And shouldn't all the team get healthy and he stays here, which I'm pretty certain of, but not 100%, but pretty certain of. Should that happen, you would say, boom, it would be like a windfall. All of those fruits become, they manifest themselves immediately.
Sorry for laughing. The comments are killing me. You guys are killing me.
The comments are always on fire, man.
Look,
always on fire.
At the start of the year, I liked what Malone was doing with MPJ. Now, I think there's always a threshold. There's always a limit. And part of the eventual frustration was, look, we get the idea about maximizing what this kid can be long term. But, hey, maybe there's no need to throw this season away, too. And so forget just,
100%.
Again, season 2 or 3, but what's the key to maybe making a bigger splash this season? Well, it was always him. So at a certain point, they had to get him going and had to build that confidence.
But I don't think we need to put the expectation of, okay, are they going to win a championship this year? Whatever. It's
no, that's not the expectation, though.
Not the expectation, but let's just think about it this way. He adds this new element that you can already feel. If he's playing at this level in last year's playoffs, I just think there's no question they're in the Western Conference Finals. I mean,
and that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So to keep organizational momentum, to guarantee that you're not going to hit another early out here, I think he was always the best answer. Now, that said, Malone does deserve a lot of credit, I think, for a certain element, and that's like MPJ when he was in AAU. Like, if you were the coach, would you coach MPJ or would you just give him the ball? I think that's what this has been the best player in the best player of his draft class, or so he was projected to be for most of his career. So, this is Malone's one shot to really coach this kid, I think, and to instill some winning habits beyond you're really good at shooting. I think it took too long, but I think he gets some credit, and so does MPJ for an apparent focus here on the things that make him better, which is rebounding, and the things that keep him on the court, which is playing defense.
Yeah. We lost in all of this, and Vote, you can maybe pull up ads. We'll do a break, and hopefully Wind will be back. But lost in all of this was a really strong performance from Jokic as well. And it's funny, he finishes with 25 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, only 4 rebounds, but Denver was rebounding the ball so well. But what I liked about this game, and it was true also of last game, is Jokic really played quarterback for 3 quarters of this game. And then in the fourth quarter, he takes over. He just kind of knows to win, you don't have to always be dominant in just your scoring. Kind of get things going, test out the defense, get guys comfortable. But he's for the second game in a row known when it was time to step up, and he stepped up. And he was fantastic. He was fantastic all game, but I thought really down the stretch of this one, it was another one where it's funny. There was a cut to the bench with like 6.5 minutes to go, and he's out of the game. And he's sitting on the bench kind of like chewing gum or something, and I just looked at him, and I like looked in his eyes, and I was like, oh, the Nuggets are winning. Cool. Because he just had this look of like, I've set the table, now I'm going to go destroy. And it's exactly what he did.
I think Jokic's dream is to not have to bust his ass for the Nuggets to win a basketball game. And for him to look up and realize, all right, I've got someone else out here with me keeping us in this for 3 quarters, and I can put my foot on the pedal when I'd like to, when I feel like it. That's ideal. And again, that sounds like I'm knocking him. His performance is incredible. His stat line was incredible. But it was also that he really did not have to overexert himself. It was not a question of how many shots is he taking. Jokic got to play the way he wants to play, and he's always going to play well if it's a close game in crunch time. Always.
And you look at it, Michael Porter tonight, 58% from the field. Jokic, 59%. Those are your guys. Those are the main guys. And they're putting up not just points, but efficient points. And it's so incredible to see. Let me ask you this real quick. Better sort of two-man combination right now, Murray Jokic or Jokic MPJ?
I'll say
it's actually a question. I think it's legit.
No, I know, man. I feel like I'll get skewered. I'll say Murray and Jokic for now because we've seen it in the postseason in spurts. But I think if you're just talking about what's harder for a defense to game plan for, what is the sort of break the dam kind of dynamic of you may know this is coming, but what can you do about it? And to me, Jokic and MPJ, like their ceiling together is closer to that.
And I think already you're starting to see some chemistry. You're seeing Jokic or MPJ to Jokic passes, which I really love. To me, their chemistry is rapidly growing, and we're watching it in real time, and it's just such a joy. Let's take a break. We're going to have Harrison Wind here on the other side of this break. He's going to share with us what he heard in the post-game commentary, but we're also later in the show, we're going to have a Stonk report, updated Stonk report. Whose Stonk report is rising? Whose is falling? I can't wait for that.
Well, one company I know of whose stunk is just always rising. It's kind of incredible. It's Breck Brew. I love everything they do.
Agree.
Had my first sip of Mango Mosaic at the bar the other day.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I would strongly recommend.
Top 5.
But I want to talk a little bit about that Mile High City can and that copper lager. You can grab it in a 15-pack right now. If you don't know where you're trying to get your Breck Brew, you can get it from them, but you can also punch into your Breck beer locator. Just Google that. It'll pop right up. It'll tell you the nearest beer, where you can get it, how far it is, within how many. You can set the miles, so it's the perfect tool. No excuse to not find Breck if you're looking for it. And we strongly recommend checking out that Mile High City Copper Lager 15-pack. We also have to talk to you guys about MSU Denver Online, one of the most convenient ways to get your education. Convenience is of the utmost importance in these times that we're in. It's not a lazy experience. It's not a point A to point B experience. Your teachers are invested. They are available. You can ask Harrison Wind about that. He has some firsthand experience. Don't choose. Don't choose between your life and your education. Do both. Do both from the comfort and safety of your home. Check out MSU Denver Online.
I like it.
That's it, man. I went quick.
Yeah, you did go quick. I love it. I love when you did that like that. Maybe we have to fire Harrison Wind. No, I'm just kidding. Harrison, are you ready to come in, or are you still waiting? He's ready. All right, let's bring him in. I don't know where Guy went. Eric, are you ready to come in? We lost our producer, so I don't know what happened here.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, you sound so fantastic now. You sound incredible.
Do I look or sound better?
Well, you definitely sound better.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take that.
So, Harrison, obviously we're here doing a Hypecast post-game, but what can you tell us? I mean, was it a Hypecast in the post-game media availability?
Yeah, to a degree. It was a Hypecast in the Spurs post-game availability. Did you guys see that quote I sent your way about Popovich?
I did. We just talked about that. That's incredible.
Oh, my God.
I love it. You know why I love it? Because it legitimizes us. It, brings us mainstream,
Yeah.
We need this, baby.
For sure. I mean, look, Michael Malone, he's never one to get too excited off of individual performances. But, a key word for him with everybody, this has been his key word for Jamal Murray over the past 2 years, consistency. So, obviously, that's been the theme with Michael Porter Jr. He has this 37-point game 2 nights ago. What is he going to do? How is he going to follow it up tonight? And, to follow it up with 30 points and 15 rebounds, I'd say that's consistent. And also what Malone was sure to point out, his rebounding as well. 15 rebounds for Porter tonight. He had a couple rebounds that were unreal, I thought, just reaching over around his defender. So that was definitely something that was touched on. Porter said that he credits his dad for telling him he can get 4 to 6 easy buckets or points per game on the glass if he just crashed the glass. And that's 100% true. Everybody's spirits are high for sure. Why shouldn't they be?
How is Jokic, though? Because I feel like Jokic has been a little bit, for Jokic, more sort of business-like in some of these media availabilities.
Yeah, he was definitely business-like. And, It was funny. I asked him about just shooting in the bubble because Jokic hit 3 3-pointers tonight, right? 3 of 5 from 3.
Oh, yeah.
3 in a row.
And I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a Wall Street Journal article that said guys are actually shooting better in the bubble than they did during the season. And I'm not surprised. I mean, it's pretty much like a practice environment, a pickup environment. So not too surprising. But I was like to Jokic, have you found it easier to shoot in the bubble? And this was a very interesting quote, I thought. He said, my biggest enemy is me. It's not the fans.
Man.
It's not the arena. My biggest enemy is me.
Sometimes I feel like he's like saying the exact thing I would want him to say in this. Because it's true. We know this about Jokic. Wow, what a quote.
So that was a great quote, but I think it's 100% legit. We've talked about this. You've talked about this. When he's locked in and focused, it seems like he's a much better three-point shooter. So we'll see about that.
The older I get, and I actually think, weirdly, I don't want to bring this down, but Kobe's passing this year has really made me sort of like rethink about and reanalyze the whole Mamba mentality thing. And there's still things I agree and disagree with, but one thing I love about Kobe is that exact thing. And the older I get, the more I realize there's this truth to it, that no matter what arena you're playing with and whatever you're doing, it really is you against yourself. Just like the human mind is capable of so many things. Like it's funny because these are all cliches you learn in third grade, and they sound so dumb because you take them maybe a little too literal. Right. But this, like, you can do anything you set your mind to or whatever. But really, mastery over mind, to me, is just the most underrated aspect of life. So it sounds like maybe I wasn't there. I didn't get to read the tea leaves as much as you did, but it sounds like Jokic is also sort of coming to these realizations, and that it's just part of growing into a superstar.
Another kind of thing along those lines that Nikola said, I asked him, for a young player like MPJ, Michael Malone talks about consistency all the time. What's the key to that consistency? And Jokic said it's all about routine, like developing a steady and consistent routine. You know, not necessarily what you do on the court, but just preparation, knowing how to take care of your body, knowing how to have the proper mindset when you go into games. He said that is the key to being consistent. So I thought that was interesting also.
That is a funny thing, Adam, you're talking about, like, just getting older in general. Like, every cliche you've heard throughout your life, suddenly one day it will just, like,
it's true.
Like, oh, wow. Like, that's what they were talking about. I can't believe I didn't actually have that sink in. And what you're talking about, Harrison, like the idea that, when you're young, things just happen and you don't really attribute it to anything other than just that's the way life is. But, like, the wisdom you gain from the more experience here on earth, like, yes, like getting a routine, eating right, not drinking, I don't know, like 2 liters of Coca-Cola every day, things like that.
No, we set the bar so low for Jokic early on, didn't we? Like, guys, he's not drinking liters of cola.
I don't know, Guy, if you have this up. So this is incredible. MPJ is special already right now. Stop playing with him. Can't be on a leash with that type of ability. It's time. Guys, I went on that road trip back in December to the East Coast. There was a Philadelphia game, and I asked Barton about this, and he said it's time. He said he's ready. He advocated for MPJ's playing time. I went back to make sure I could clarify with him if I got his quote right. He was like, he insisted, no, I want this kid to play. He is ready. He's felt this way all season. And these Nuggets guys know. They watch him play in practice. They play pickup with him in this, throughout the season and maybe even the hiatus. So these guys know what he's made of.
Cool. That quote gives me chills.
If you've watched him play, man, then you know. I really think it's that simple.
Is he advocating that he starts over Barton?
I mean, look. I mean, who knows? But here's the thing about Barton is he's a real one, man. I know, like, there's certain. I have theories about some of the different reasons the fan base hasn't fully sort of connected with Will Barton the way that we have, and I think in part because we know him a little bit more intimately, like we talk to him. But none of this stuff surprises me with Will. Like, he's just a real one. If you beat him out of a spot, he's going to say it. And I don't know that that's what he's saying. He might think he should be started at the 2 or whatever. But he's just not afraid to talk about how special of a talent Michael Porter Jr. is. And it's funny, when I did the Will Barton doc, Avs score again, huh? All right.
apparently not all the background noise.
Who laid down the Nuggets, Avs, Rockies parlay today?
Denver Sports is popping right now, guys. Denver Sports, this is like an incredible Denver Sports moment. I'm having so much fun.
Wasn't the last guy Barton was this vocal about, like, Jokic?
I mean,
yep.
Right? So, I mean, for real.
But he's trying to tell you something, you know?
And also, it's funny because I remember Tim Conley saying that he thinks of all the people on the roster, Will Barton would be the best, like a great GM. He's like, he'll make a great GM someday because he's such an eye for talent and he's the guy that watches basketball 24/7. I kind of agree. Like, Will Barton has mostly good takes. He's a giant Kobe. Like, he thinks Kobe's better than MJ, but whatever. Outside of that take, I think he's great.
One more thing from the post game Zoom. This was an all-time Michael Malone moment, but I actually asked him about MPJ's rebounding, and so he gave me his the rebounding kind of answer, and then he went off into this little tangent, and he said, I was thinking about Michael Porter the other day, and I'm wondering how the heck this guy didn't make the Rising Stars game.
It's so disgusting.
And then he goes, "Are you kidding me?" and just walks off the Zoom.
That's funny. That's
an all-time Michael Malone, and I mean, probably the biggest reason why he didn't make the Rising Stars game was because he didn't get a lot of minutes. I mean,
it's like, searching for the guy who's responsible for this. Yeah, I won't rest till I find him.
True. He did not make the Rising Stars game.
There was some scrubs in there too.
Oh, God.
You know what? Well, you want to know what's funny though is that there might be a little payback because I told people this. I might have been like a little, sauced or something earlier. This is like January or something. I'm really feeling myself here. This is a hot box and hot takes moment. But I said something to the effect of, there's a chance MPJ's the best player for his draft class. Remember, he was drafted with Luka Doncic, and he might be the best player from his rookie class. Remember, he shares that with Zion Williamson. And I know that's like the craziest take, and it's still a little crazy, but I mean, we see it. We've been watching him. I think he's a couple days away from going mainstream because this is just too loud. You can't keep these secrets anymore. Who else, guys? Who else tonight should we talk about? I thought Monte Morris has continued to sort of get better and better with each game. He was 8 of 13 tonight, 19 points, 4 assists. Guess how many turnovers he had, Brendan?
0.
0 turnovers for Monte Morris, second game in a row.
Is this the Stonks report segment we're doing right now?
No. We'll get there. We're talking specifically about this game right now.
Okay. Yeah, Monte was the man. Grant started off really slow. He picked it up in the end.
Jeremy Grant had 22 points tonight.
Yeah, and then nobody else is worth talking. Composure had a few moments and a few shining moments in the sun.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, PJ Dozier I thought looked a lot better from last game for sure.
Yeah.
The only two negatives on the plus minus tonight, Monte Morris was a -1. He did play 35 minutes. He played a lot. Torrey Craig also a minus. He was the one guy that there was, especially in the first half, there were some plays that were a little frustrating to watch, a little there. But yeah, Monte really looking strong in PJ, and I'm telling you guys, I'm curious to see. You talked earlier about Derek White and sagging off of Michael Porter to double the post. Well, number one, if you do that, Denver can punish you either by MPJ kicking out or just creating a chain reaction, him cutting, whatever. But number two, I think that's the last time. I don't know that we're going to see teams doubling off of Michael Porter tomorrow and going forward. It's one of those things where it's like he's young. Let's see what he's got. I think other teams know what he's got now, and they're not going to do that.
I agree. And if they do, then they just weren't watching these games. If they do, we'll take it.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, gosh, guys, it's funny that they have a turnaround. If there's one sort of concern, they play Portland tomorrow. Portland, I hate to say this, guys. I think Portland's going to get in. Memphis has just had some bad luck. They're 0-3. New Orleans is really disappointed and dropped the ball. I think Portland's getting in because I wanted this game tomorrow to be Denver's opportunity to knock them out of contention, but it doesn't look like that'll be an opportunity.
Do we really care if Portland gets in, guys? They're going to get smacked by the Lakers either way.
Well, that's true. I just want their summer to start earlier than, I want it to start at the first part of August. I just want to wish them to have a nice summer. Is that too much?
Yeah, actually, I'll amend that. I do think they could take a couple games off the Lakers. I'll amend that. I think they could get a couple.
Did you see Charles Barkley predicted that they would not only make the playoffs, but would beat the Lakers in the first round?
If we are talking practically, I want bad things for the Portland Trailblazers at all times. Like I enjoy them being miserable, and so I'd like to see it. But if I'm thinking with my head here, the Lakers having to go up against a Memphis team that's like terrible and that's the easiest cakewalk, I don't want that. So if they have to go in there and Nurkic is bullying Anthony Davis around the way he does, I mean, let's be honest, Nurkic is physical. Give him a physical series even if they win in 5, 4, 5, 6, whatever, 7, make it hard, make it physical, because one thing about this bubble, and if you're a LeBron James fan, one thing about this bubble, the games, even in the playoffs, are every other day. So it's always hard the deeper you go into the playoffs because you just get more and more tired. But the fact that these are going to be competitive games spaced out by 48 hours, yeah, let's give the Lakers a little bit of a hard time with them in there. But nonetheless, 36 minutes tonight from Nikola Jokic, 35 minutes from Monte Morris. What did we get from Michael Porter? No, 36 from Michael Porter, actually. He's the one that led. Are you concerned at all that he has never played these types of minutes, let alone played them 3 times in four nights?
I mean, I wasn't until you just said it just now. Perhaps a little. Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time Porter played 44 minutes and then 2 days later played 36? It wasn't last year. It wasn't at Missouri. His senior year of high school.
Yeah, you're
so
right about that.
It's been a while.
But
his
he looks
body's different.
strong and he looks young. Like he's not being, if you had no idea his history, like you would never peg him as the injury-prone player on the floor. He looks like
I don't know. He's a vulnerable lander. I know this is like a really
he did hit the floor tonight. Definitely way more than he did in like the scrimmage or the first 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes he gets hit a little harder. He falls from a dunk and he kind of wilts or buckles a little bit, and I hold my breath.
Yeah,
but hey, he's healthy. I mean,
if you didn't know, I don't know. Like something about I have stopped worrying. Like when Michael Porter Jr. first was getting into games, I was every time he got bumped, every time anyone came near his back, I was just like, oh my god, like it's all going to be snatched away from us. But I don't know, man. He looks strong. Like whatever was ailing him, like I don't know. It feels like the magic of modern medicine is going to work in the Nuggets' favor for once. So let's go.
Should we take another break on the other side? Do we have the ads pulled up, Harrison?
Yeah, we can go to break.
Okay, let's go to a quick break because when we pull up on the other side, let's do a Stonks report. We're 3 games in. We can kind of analyze the players. Who's going up? Who's going down? This should be fun.
Yeah, we've got this at the bar, guys, right next to all the other Breck brew taps, but you can get Strava Craft coffee at the DNVR bar.
This at the bar.
Cold
DNVR
brew.
bar is like honestly like the coolest freaking place on earth.
Yeah, you can get the cold brew right on tap at the bar. You can also get it for 20% off when you use the code DNVR20 online at StravaCraftCoffee.com. It's packed with CBD. It can help cure back pain, arthritis, migraines, whatever's ailing you these days. So get it for 20% off with the code DNVR20 online at StravaCraftCoffee.com. Also, guys, this weekend, golf's first major of the year is here up in San Francisco. There's no better way to join the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. And to celebrate golf's first major of the year, DraftKings Sportsbook is offering special odds and promotions all weekend long, and all new users get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Quick pivot from the golf on DraftKings. There was an absolute sure thing on the Michael Porter Jr. point total over-under today. I hope you guys all hit on that because, I mean, if he's playing 20-plus minutes,
what do you think it's going to be
that was
for
a
tomorrow?
sure thing.
What do you think it's?
20.1.
It'll be 15.5 today. I see it might be lower tomorrow just because of the back-to-back. But I'll say this: so tomorrow's what, Thursday? By Saturday's game, I'll bet you it's at like 18.5, 19.5. I mean, there's just no way they're going to have him at 15.5. He falls out of bed and has 15.5 points.
If he's on the floor for 20, if it's on the floor for 20 minutes, he's going over 15. But I don't know. Tomorrow's a little tricky on the back-to-back. Maybe they'll limit his minutes a little bit. Who knows?
Look at Brendan. Look at Brendan. He hits one
Harrison
day.
asked if anyone hit the over, and
He hits one day. Look at him.
Heater. He's won in a row.
Look at it,
dude. I just paid.
on
MPJ paid for my dog's vet's appointment next week. That's all.
That's
I'm
so
feeling.
dope.
I think legally you have to change your dog's name from Maisie May to MPJ.
Might be right.
Yeah, maybe. I was also going to say tomorrow, Eric's going to be playing golf on the Big Drive live show. So follow DNVR Sports on Twitter if you don't. You probably already do, but if you don't, Eric's going to be embarrassing himself in front of everyone.
No, that's not true. I'll be embarrassing all of you.
I can't wait.
It's going to be me versus Rudo. Me and I think either Mitchell or Spencer versus Rudo, with whichever one is not
the other ones.
me.
Yeah.
It's going to be, we'll take best ball, so there'll be a lot of me hitting the ball and then us not taking our shot, taking the first shot, and then just me cracking wise in the golf course. It's going to be incredible.
Me and RK are going to be emceeing it, so you can believe we're going to be roasting
I didn't
Eric
even
the
know
entire time.
But anyways, guys, make sure to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR. When you sign up for a limited time, all new users can get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is going all out with a new user sign-up bonus up to $1,000. Just enter DNVR when you sign up. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Bonus is comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. The deposit bonus requires a 25x playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
So before we move on to the Stonks report, we have to ask about the king of the game, the DraftKings king of the game. And once again, controversial. Once again, I love when there's a controversy with the good old Nuggets. This is the thing. We did this with Game Ball. Oh, look at that graphic. Yeah, Eric's not on there. They're very nice. It's a perfect graphic. No, the king of the game, we did this with Game Ball where Jokic is graded on a different plane. Like if we just did this in a vacuum, Jokic would probably have like 80% of all game balls. But with that context said, vote, where are you going with the king of the game?
I'm going to go Jokic this time. I thought those 3 threes. I thought Jokic had both the total effort and also the sort of swing moment in the third. And that MPJ, I didn't mind anything he did. I liked that when he was with the second unit, he just jacked up shots because I honestly think that's just a high percentage look. It's like
I need a follow-up comment to this.
I didn't think he would look like Larry Walker if he never made it into the Hall of Fame, but here we are.
That definitely feels like an insult.
Yeah, it does.
As does this one in a vacuum drink. No, let's talk about those 3 threes, though, because I meant to talk about this earlier. To me, if you just look at some of the individual things that were so encouraging, that's one of them. I wrote about this before the season. We were doing our season preview, our bubble preview. I said, Jokic knocking down three-pointers is a sneaky key to Denver's offense. And I don't think it's a coincidence that after he knocked those down, Denver started to roll. Getting the defense worried about him and his three-point shot is important. And he didn't just knock down those 3. He called for it. He called his own number 3 times in a row and was just like, I'm just pulling and I'm just jacking. And all 3 went in. Is that, Harrison, in your opinion, when you saw that, is that okay? His shot's there. Like sometimes you just need to hit a few to kind of get the monkey off your back.
I'm not going to say it's completely there yet. I'm not.
So pragmatic. Why'd I go to Harrison for a pragmatic take? Eric, is the monkey off his back? And now
I don't know. I'm distracted. Everyone's talking about their perception of what I was going to look like. This is what I actually look like. For me, the king of the game, I'm sorry, I didn't even hear the intro part of this, but king of the game was absolutely Jokic. He put the team on his back. That was the absolute turning point of this game. The Nuggets were dead in the water. I was poisoning the timeline, as I'm apt to do when things are going poorly. And then he hits 3 threes in a row, and suddenly not only did the Nuggets have life, the Nuggets become dominant. And it not only revives Jokic, but every single player all of a sudden gets the juice. And then we go from it being I don't know, it just felt like it was going to be an absolute devastating loss to a dominating win. It wasn't even in question at the end.
Yeah. What about you, Harrison?
Yeah, I'll go Jokic. He had 13 in the third, I think, kind of when the game was hanging in the balance and, when Denver didn't quite have that first half juice. So I will go Jokic. But I do agree with you. Him hitting threes is a huge storyline because it's the only weak part of his offensive game. The only thing he doesn't bring on the offensive end consistently.
And weak is doing a lot of work there because it's just that it's not up to snuff to everything else. But when it is, if he was a 40% 3-point shooter, I mean,
oh my God.
Well,
and what's the best real sample size we have of him as a good 3-point shooter? The playoffs, when it mattered most. So that's why to me those threes were particularly encouraging. I was this close to being out on Jokic's 3-point shot. I mean, I had lost all confidence. Then it's 3 in a row, and it's man, he just needs to see himself do it, rhythm and confidence. And I do think maybe not 40 plus, but across 14 games, it's going to be 37-ish, more than 32, I think, maybe 38.
Man, it really feels like Jokic it's like the first 3 quarters are Jokic just begging the rest of the team to come into play. He just hangs back, and then in the third quarter, he's like, all right, F it, let's go. Fine, I'll do this. Let's go.
No, yeah.
A cutie pie. A cutie pie. Wow.
Wow, that is way too intense for this pod. No, I'm with you, Eric. I think he does that because he likes to feel out the game, but I also think he recognizes the importance of getting his teammates going. I really do. I really think he looks at it and says, man, if I can get Michael Porter some easy looks early on, if I can get Jamal going, that's going to help me out. And like I can just, I can really turn it on if we need it in the second half.
It's unbelievable. He can do that in the NBA. He can just decide to sort of coast. He can sort of decide when he's needed most, turn it on, turn it off. Jokic is remarkable. He's the most incredible basketball
player. Can we go to the highlight? Do you have the Jokic highlights queued up? Can we relive some of the magic?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Let's relive some of this.
LeBron does that too. Eric?
Okay. Here we go. From House of Highlights. It doesn't always work sometimes when we do it this way. Let's see if it does. Just look at this beautiful Serbian man. Jakob Poeltl's a good defender too. Oh man, these are MPJ highlights.
So that was MPJ's first one of the game. Yeah,
it is true, man. When he hits the first one or two, you're like, okay, we're in this. All right, look at that. Oh yeah.
Oh, it was on.
Those ones, it's when he's on the far corner, it looks like he's not open, and then he pulls up just higher than everybody. Oh god, look at the first 4 minutes of this game were like pure adrenaline.
It's so pure.
Shot right into my soul. Vote, so you gotta loosen up, dude. These are. I figured you'd be going crazy for these.
Well, I was going to. I didn't want to interrupt you guys. I just want to let you know that if MPJ had hit that first layup, I would have won big, and I would in fact have been shirtless on this game. But yeah, it took 20 real life minutes.
Look at that rebound. Look at that rebound. Oh,
just comes higher. I'm telling you.
He's getting that. Most guys are tapping that out. He's going up and grabbing that with two hands.
10 points. Look at that one too. 10 points on 3 shots in 3 minutes to open the game. That's on pace for 140 points, if anyone was.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a great pace. I'm hopefully he can keep that up. I love these passes. Look at this. I'm telling you, Harrison, I asked this vote earlier. The better two-man game, Murray and Jokic, MPJ and Jokic.
Well, that's tough because Murray and Jokic is so potent, but I mean, I think MPJ and Jokic has a higher offensive ceiling, probably, right?
Yeah. What do you think Murray is thinking as he watches these games unfold? Is he feeling excited to get back in action, or is he feeling jealous, like maybe the team is passing him by?
Oh no, come on, man! There's no way. He's got to be excited. He's thinking, I'm going to have so many open shots.
Yeah, he's got to be excited. And I mean, yes, Porter's looked great, but this team still can't get to the Western Conference Finals without Jamal Murray playing at a super high level as well. So
yeah,
I'm glad Jamal Murray is more than I am.
Yeah. I do have somebody here waiting in the wings. I don't know if you got headphones on there, Big T. If you have headphones, throw your headphones on. Otherwise, it'll give you an echo. But I got my buddy who I'm going to bring on here. Big T, what's happening? I like that you put Big T.
There's not an echo, is there?
No, you sound great. Big T is the COO of Run Pure Sports, brand new startup.
Is that a Peloton in the background?
Like my boy Mares there.
Yeah, right.
Follow each other there, yeah.
Hey, Big T, do you remember when you and I recorded a podcast?
Yeah, of course I remember. What do you mean? Down in the basement? Absolutely. I've been dying to come on with you guys.
Talked about Thanksgiving and whether or not the Nikola Jokic would celebrate it while living here.
I remember it. I remember that whole podcast.
You know what's funny? I don't remember any of it. So
no way Adam does. No fucking way.
Was it more than a week ago? Yeah, I don't remember that. Tony, I know you're on the hype train. You're driving the hype train for Michael Porter. Are we not hyped enough? We think he's the greatest Michael in basketball history.
I mean, it's just frustrating because we saw glimpses all year, and Malone would just randomly get frustrated. It happened 3 games ago or 2 games ago where he kept shrugging him off at Malone when he had a few defensive lapses. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm just glad to see it happen because Malone's kind of on the hype train. I heard a few of his quotes.
He's on.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to say that I think Malone believes in Michael Porter Jr.
I think he does too.
I know it's that didn't unfold the way everyone hoped, but the way these 3 bubbles games have gone. Malone has basically said, look, you give me what I'm looking for and I'll give you what you want. And that's been a beautiful dynamic through 3 games. And I think Malone is in, man. I think he understands what this kid can do. And that's probably why he rides him so hard.
I would hope he's in. If you're not in by now, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Well, here's one thing, though. So we just saw the Will Barton quote. We got Michael Porter, even Jokic. There's a lot of guys that are kind of starting to come, to his defense. I do wonder if this would be the case if Michael Porter was playing 25 minutes from opening night. Because at the end of the day, does it really matter if the Nuggets or the 2 seed, whatever? I just don't know if those things matter. But the team all seems to be buying into him. And we've seen in years past with young players have come in, even when they're talented, there's this like resentment from the veterans or for whatever reason. I feel like Michael Porter having to go the long way and really earn this 120%, not just 100%, but 120%. Everybody just kind of now is ready for him, including his teammates, it seems to me. Do you see this at all, Tony, or are you just like, dude, play him and you have 10 more wins?
No, I mean, I don't know how they wouldn't be on board right now. Like, even Barton, of course, like, I don't know how you could watch the last two games and not think that he could be our best player. I mean, I'm the biggest. Maybe Mara's a bigger Jokic fan than me, but I'm right there with him. But this guy has a higher ceiling than even Jokic, and
yeah, I think so too.
He makes us legit. Wow. I mean, we have a legit chance. I mean, maybe not this year, but you never know in the bubble, anyways, because the game kind of translates into the bubble.
I think
when we say higher ceiling, I just want to get this out there. It's different ceilings. It's like Jokic is just such an elite all-around engine of the offense. Michael Porter is the sledgehammer that just like pushes that thing through. I mean, Jokic, I think, can be the elite table setter that just like the number one LeBron James-esque table setter, and I think Michael Porter is the like Kevin Durant type scorer where the table wasn't set this possession, doesn't matter, he scored anyway, and it's just such a perfect combo.
I used that example today on our show. We did the NBA show earlier, and I think he reminds me of Kevin Durant in a way. Like, he does plays that no one else can make. Like, some of the rebounds he gets might seem like a basic thing, but he goes up in traffic, gets it with ease. Like, it's just easy for him. 15 boards, I think, today. He's just so what happens when these guys come back? Like, what's the starting lineup going to be?
That's a great
question. That's the $1 million question, Big T.
Eric, start us off here. Starting lineup when everybody's healthy.
I got to think Nikola Jokic is in the starting lineup. I got to think Jamal Murray is the one. The two, this is where it gets complicated. Probably the two is Barton. And then or it's Barton or Gary, man. 3 MPJ, or would you put him at the 4?
3.
So I think what this
at the 4.
So I think what the starting lineup should be is Jamal, Gary, Porter, Millsap, and Nikola Jokic. I think Barton off the bench with the second unit is a better look than Gary off the bench with the second unit. And Gary's on-ball defense is going to be nice to have in the starting lineup as well. And I think with Porter's shooting, it's not as bad. It's not as big of a detriment if Gary Harris, is only shooting 32, 33%. As it would be if he was in the starting lineup next to Will Barton, who's not the type of shooter that Porter is.
Let me ask you this way, Tony. Forget about starting lineup. What's Denver's death lineup right now? I'm not talking about down the road, but their lineup that maybe you can't play for 15 minutes, but you play it for 3 minutes in the third quarter, and then you go on a 15-0 run.
So I agree with you guys. First of all, the shooting guard's really the only spot I think that you can really negotiate with, because I think Gary Harris is washed. He's the one I just don't like him very much.
He's 26, but
he just isn't. He hasn't been good though for like a couple of years now, and I just don't like him. I think the death lineup, if I was going to roll it out, would be Grant in there with him and just go big and just really have Jokic have the ball, run Jamal off the ball a little bit as a shooter on the side, and just go big with athletic guys and just run that kind of team.
See, we talked about the spacing today when Monte was running that, and he had Michael Porter out as a wing, and they were afraid to help off. I think with Will Barton, you get, in addition to getting another guy that can knock down an open three-point shot, you also get another guy that can run pick and roll at an elite level. So I just think if you get into a possession where you have a pick and roll with Murray, a pick and roll with Barton, back to a pick and roll with Murray, teams aren't going to be able to defend that with that much spacing. So that's why I like Barton out there. But it might be, instead of Millsap, you have Grant out there just as another floor spacer, and defensively you give up some. But again, if we're talking about the end of the third quarter, you're just trying to you're up 5, you just want to try to finish up 10. That might be the lineup, because you're not going to stop that lineup. I don't know if they'll get stops, but you won't stop them.
I think it's tough because I think Barton helps you maximize that starting unit, but I also think Harrison brought up a great point, which is to get the best out of a second unit. Right. I don't see what Gary's doing with 4 other second unit guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't seem to be a creator. So if you are looking for someone to make a difference 20, 25 off the bench, Barton is far more likely to do that. But I agree with Mars as well that I would like a second ball handler in there in the starting lineup. So
we got a
for me,
Wilson
that's where it gets
Chandler
tough.
quote here. I have no idea what it is, so it could be anything here.
Wilson Chandler is also in on Porter.
Yeah, all right. This is the most like Wilson Chandler quote too. Like it's excitement, right? Like no explanation points. Just Porter is nice. Him, Joker, and Jamal is a fire young.
I wonder if Wilson wants to come back to the Nuggets. I wonder if he wants to come back.
I'll take him just because I like him.
It's when the hype and the Ica strain are really conflicting.
We gotta move on though. We gotta get to our Stonks report here, and you can help us with this, Big T. Can we pull up the Stonks report? Do you have it for us, Guy? We have our grabbing. Oh wow. Well, I don't know if that's it, but you know what? That's it's a good one. Let's go through the lineup here. Starting at the top, Jokic. I'll start with you, Tony. Is his stock up or down right now in the bubble? 3 games in the bubble.
I mean, I'd say it's just up if I had to guess, but I mean, he just looks good to me. You can't say down, so I'd have to say up.
That's true. I guess it's a wait and see. No, he's better than wait and see. He's a solid buy. He's a solid buy.
He's busted out of the top.
Yeah.
Jokic to me. After that first game, you thought, I don't know, a little lethargic. Really, first game and a half, but it's hard to watch the last 2 fourth quarters just how dominant he was. I mean, we talk about this all the time with superstars, like a Jimmy Butler type or even a Kawhi Leonard. It doesn't really matter what they do through 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, if it's within range and you have that guy, you win. And that both of the last 2 games, that's how I felt about Jokic. Like, overtime, best player's going to win. That's Jokic. What about you, Harrison?
Remember when Jokic looked like crap in the scrimmages? That was like a week ago. But yeah, stock way up on Jokic. He looks great. I think he's set for a huge playoffs, to be quite honest.
Can we make a blood pact? Can we make a blood pact to not do this with Jokic again? If he gets sad for a week, let's just give it.
We already did.
Week, okay.
We keep making it over and over. Shout out to Miroslav, who called this exactly. Remember, he was saying like Jokic was going to be terrible in the scrimmages. We all agreed, but then we still got emotionally damaged by watching him play, and then of course he's right back.
What a finger on the pulse, Miroslav. All right, we'll get this one out of the way. Michael Porter Jr. Whatever that top. What was the top graphic? What was it? It was.
Let's go.
Throw it back up there. It's let's go. Yeah, let's go. He's definitely let's go. You're an idiot if you're not buying the stock right now. Is there anybody on earth you think that's not buying the stock? Are there? You know how with Jokic it took like 2 years for people to be like, okay, maybe he's okay. With Porter, what he does is so loud. Everybody's on board, right?
Oh, without question.
Yeah, I don't see how you couldn't. Yeah.
There's nobody. Maybe like. Maybe just like Jonte Porter, just out of like sibling rivalry. But like
maybe the Clippers. The Clippers somehow passed on them twice in the draft. Maybe they're still not in on them.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. All right, we can move on because those 2 are easy. Let's get to Paul Millsap. This is an interesting one. Vote. Where's Paul Millsap's stock right now?
Where we left it. Okay. I think it was a disappointing game 1, but I think a guy of his age was probably going to take a little bit to get warmed up. You're asking him to give you 14, 15 sometimes and play really good defense. He's going to do that. And what we saw, actually, there were a couple of plays tonight, at least one where the ball was popping and it was Millsap's turn to shoot, and he knocked it down. He's been a consistent shooter from deep all season, actually. So I think Millsap's stock is either where it was or looking good.
Without looking at this, Eric, how many minutes did he play tonight?
Paul Millsap probably played 25 minutes.
He played 16 and a half minutes.
Wow. It's a tough matchup for him, right?
The matchup is him versus age, and I just think like having to play all these games, he's not going to be.
No, I don't agree. I think the matchup was him versus Rudy Gay, and he had a hard time with it.
That's a good point. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think you're right. Tony, what about you? Stock up or down on Millsap?
I'm not a big Millsap guy either. I think he helps a ton on defense, which you need with Jokic and MPJ out there. Even though I think MPJ's a little better on D than people think.
I think so too. I love that too.
Yeah.
I mean, he is lazy and he gets lost, but he has length and athleticism to make up for it. I just like Grant better than Millsap, so I guess I'll say down on him.
Oh wow, that's surprising. Are you high on Grant?
I don't know if I would start him over though. Like I kind of like how they do it. Like today, I mean, Grant played 35 minutes tonight. Millsap played like half of that. I just think when you play these teams like the Clippers, like Millsap is not going to be able to stay on the floor.
That's true.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think Grant matches up better against the really good teams, but I'm fine with him coming off the bench. So I think down on Millsap.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but if you were in charge of things, is this Millsap's last year in Denver? I mean, assuming even just kind of reading what you think the market would be for a player like him.
Doesn't he make like $30 million or something?
Well, now, but he's not going to make it next year.
So what do we think? I guess it depends on what the contract would be. If it was a good deal, I'd have him back.
I don't know that he's going to command a ton of money, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe off
if
the
he
bench.
was cheap, wouldn't we all want him back?
Yeah,
for sure.
A couple Vanilla Porter Juniors. I'd say 30 of them. You need to drink 30 Vanilla Porter Juniors.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. Torrey Craig. I'll start with you, Tony.
So, I mean, I'm not a huge Torrey Craig guy, but I do think he fits pretty good with teams you need him to guard people on. And I'd say up. I mean, he's looked pretty good the last 2 games. I mean, he's hit a shots. He does what he does. I mean, he's just good at what he does. I don't think he's a great player, but he kind of fits the mold of what we need. I mean, when we play the Clippers, I think he's a good matchup for some of those guys. So.
Houston, too. Like, he guards Houston, I have a take. Craig's value, I think, might skyrocket once Murray, MPJ, and Jokic are on the court. Because we keep talking about all the combinations you have to have enough scoring out there. When you have those 3 on the court, boom, you got it. The other 2 guys almost don't matter offensively.
What about him at the 2? What about him at the 2 at that spot we talked about?
Ooh, Barton and Gary off the bench. Wow.
Spicy.
I like it. I think I like this. I don't know.
I can't get there.
The thing with Torrey was he was 0 of 4 from 3 today. I think all 4 of those threes were like so wide open. They were on like 4, 5, 6 pass possessions, pretty good possessions. Then he was just missing open threes.
And he's got to shoot them, right?
Yeah, he's got to shoot them. And yeah, he's got to knock some more down. But I did not think he played that well tonight.
I hated him in this game. I absolutely hated Torrey Craig in this game. Like, I would absolutely put him for sell. Like, I feel like he can get his production out of another player. Like, I feel like Gary Harris comes back and it absolutely nullifies the need for Torrey Craig on this team.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Gary Harris had a couple 0 of 4s in him as well. But
he's had plenty of 0 for 4.
Monte Morris. Start with you, Eric.
I'm putting him a buy. He's up. His first game back looked rough, but then again, it was his first game since March. His second game since March, he looks better. His third game since March, he looks like and Monte we trust again. So up. Let's buy.
Harrison?
Yeah, he was great tonight. He was kind of the third guy for the Nuggets. I thought that was one of the biggest things that stood out in the first quarter especially. They got off to this great start, and then they took MPJ out, and you were like, wow, the distance between Jokic and MPJ to the Nuggets' next best offensive player is so big right now. But Monte kind of filled the void as that next guy, just in the pick and roll, driving and kicking. So he was huge, so I'm buying him.
This is just really quickly. This is what makes me so nervous about these guys not playing. Our 3 starters is it like takes 3 games, 4 games for these guys to really gain their form. So like,
does it though? Jamal Murray didn't play in the first 2 scrimmages and went out there and had like one of the best games of his career.
But he's different than Gary Harris and Will Barton. Like I do think there's something about the
sure.
He also arrived on time. Like those guys were not only late to arrive, but also haven't played. Like it makes me like.
I think you really want to see. I think you really want to see Will Barton have a good game before the playoffs start. Jamal, I think you probably can count on, but Barton, he probably wants to see him still get going here.
I'm so curious what Will Barton returns as when he comes back, because he's, I think, a scorer by nature. Like, that's his most comfortable skill set. But the Nuggets, with MPJ, they need him to reduce that a little bit and up the pick and roll just decision making a lot. And he's capable of it. I just don't know if that's what he wants also.
Hey, earlier in the season, though, they were like, when he was asked to do different things, I mean, he put an effort on the glass that we haven't seen from him yet in his career.
That's a great
effort on defense that we haven't seen from him yet in his career. Now, that may not have added up to something plus as far as the defense goes. But, hey, we talk about the rebounding, especially with MPJ in there. You put a guy like Barton in the 2. Maybe he's more focused on filling in the cracks and the little things. I think this guy's far more of a complimentary player than he gets credit for.
I'll let you go first on this one, then vote. Jeremy Grant.
Dude, it's so weird because I want to tell you his stock is down, but if you check his box scores, hasn't he been scoring a decent amount of points and shooting the ball well?
That's the game, though, man. There was a lot of garbage.
I agree.
A lot of garbage.
I would say that, wait and see. I would say his stock has actually dropped a little bit from when we last saw this team playing in March. So it'll be his role is going to be different when the other guys are on the court. And he's left wide open from 3, and I think he can knock those down. So it'll be what can he do in 1-on-1 defense if he does get that Kawhi matchup like Big T was talking about or whatever, and can he rebound a little better? I think those will be the questions.
We have viewers in Nairobi.
Oh, I love it.
It's so weird, man. Like Jeremy Grant shot.
I was in an earthquake in Nairobi once. In an earthquake on like the 6th floor. Yeah, I'm really interested in there.
Adam
any comment, Ian Kip?
Yeah, no, go for it, Win. What were you gonna say?
No, like Jeremy Grant is one of like he shot 39% from 3 or better in each of these last 2 years, but every time he takes a 3, I still don't think it's going in.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Big T,
but he makes them. He makes a bunch.
Are you gonna buy? Are you selling? You waiting to see him?
I'm way higher on Grant than you guys. Like I think he's one of the most important players we have, and I just like him. I mean, yeah, I don't feel great when he's launching threes. I do agree with you guys on that, but he can just do so much on the floor. He helps. He can guard. He can space the floor. He can rebound. I mean, he only had one rebound tonight.
I don't think like his average.
Yeah,
he should rebound better, but I like.
He's got 5 in the bubble.
He's got 5.
Wait, seriously?
I'm
pretty
5 in 3 games. Oh my god!
I might need to
Wasn't it
reevaluate
2
if
and
he's
1?
only got 5 boards. That's terrible.
I mean, Jeremy Grant though, yeah, he is going to play. He played 35 minutes tonight. He's going to play 35 minutes if the Nuggets are playing the Clippers or the Lakers in the playoffs. He's playing heavy minutes.
I agree.
And they are playing those teams, so he
probably should. And it's tough to get a rebound when Porter's getting every rebound. Like, the dude is grabbing 15 boards a night.
That helps.
I know even Jokic tonight, what did Jokic have? 4 rebounds? But a lot of those are just because MPJ's the one grabbing it. You might as well let Jokic get down the court.
Sure.
PJ Dozier. Eric, your boy. Where's his stock?
My boy is... Buy now. He's rising. He, again, same thing. Like, he started off just like Monte Morris. Like, the first game, I was like, oh my God, I made a terrible decision on who my boy was. And like in the last 2 games, like he's looked like he's using his length. He's, he's still making a couple like bad decisions, but he's like, his jump shot's coming. He's making smart decisions. He looks composed, and it's like everything you want. So bye.
You called him your boy, but I have to be honest with you. He's also Big T's boy, so we need to have you guys fight over the love of PJ Dozier. Big T, your thoughts on Eric claiming him as his own?
I mean, he can have him. I'm not that in love with him. I do think I like him more. I like his future more than Morris, but I like Morris better as a backup, if that makes sense. Like, I think Morris fits better with that backup unit. If I had to pick one guy, though, to, like, take into the future, I think it would be PJ.
Yeah, that might be the thing. That might be a thing Tim Conley is weighing this very moment as he heads into the offseason.
Well, who would you guys take? Like, who would you take, Martin?
I'm with you about PJ. I haven't seen enough to know. Like, PJ's a little bit of a gunner, and that to me, that's the thing that worries me is the role that the Nuggets need him to play is one that's very much a table setter, very much a defender, and very much an attacks the basket but makes smart decisions once he does. And that last part, I'm just not so sure about. He seems a little Moutier-esque in his like. I can finish through contact. I don't need to.
That's disrespectful.
We got 2 more here. Mason Plumlee, guys. I feel like he's the most consistent player in the NBA. His stock is neither up nor down. It just
the
exists.
The most consistent player in the NBA.
As in 5 and 15.
You know what you get out of him. I'm not saying consistently good. I'm just saying you
get being terrible at basketball out of it.
Oh, that's what the hate coming out of a Big T and the takes, man. These are 5 pepper takes right here.
Plumlee, I don't seriously like Plumlee.
I mean, not like him, but he's a backup.
I do. I'm not afraid to say I like Plumlee. Like, he's a backup center. Like, how many backup centers are there in the NBA?
Yeah, but the problem is Malone loves putting him out there with Jokic at times, and it drives me nuts. It makes me want to break the TV.
I mean, look at the minutes tonight, though. Jokic 32, Millsap 17, Grant 35, Plumlee 15. I don't think Plumlee's playing more than 15 minutes a game in the playoffs.
Oh,
if you guaranteed me he was only on the floor when Jokic was off, I would love Plumlee.
There you go. Okay.
Give me that guarantee.
Yeah, because Big T's not afraid to give some takes. This is the last guy. Then we got to get out of here. Troy Daniels.
Big take.
Troy Daniels. I guess who should I start with? Wind. Right there. Where's his stock report?
I think it's up because he can make shots. I don't know if he's going to play a lot in the playoffs, but I think he's shown enough early to get a contract next season. I'll say that.
From Denver?
No, from another team.
Oh, okay. Eric, what are you thinking? Or actually,
I
Vogt,
think
what are you
he's
thinking?
no.
What was that?
Vote.
Was that
Yeah, it's you. Troy Daniels? Oh, geez. Yeah. Are you? Are
yeah.
the Lakers on? Are you watching LeBron? Is that what's going
Troy
on?
Daniels' stock. Troy Daniels' stock, as far as playing when these games matter in Denver, is like as low as it could go right now. Like he in the scrimmages, he earned like an opportunity to earn an opportunity, and the second part has not gone well in my opinion. But so I don't know.
Tomorrow he checks into the game in the second quarter. Are you feeling like, okay, this is are you excited? How are you feeling?
I'm probably feeling like, oh man, is Jamal Murray out again? Is Gary Harris? I mean, if they have enough guards, Troy Daniels isn't part of the equation, in my opinion.
I think you can feel good though if you need to go to him for like 10 to 15 minutes. Like he can put it in the bucket.
Yeah, every word I've heard is just an absolute confirmation of a wait and see player. This is a wait and see player.
This is a wait and see. Yeah,
He can.
I think we're just gonna wait. I don't.
We know exactly what Troy Daniels is. We don't need to wait for anything.
But like.
He makes like an average number of threes, and he does an average number
shooter.
of things for a guy that's the 12th guy on a roster. All right, Big T, man, that was fun, dude.
Yo, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, we have to have you on more often. We need more gambling picks. Tomorrow, this is quick gambling advice for tomorrow's game against Portland.
What do we got?
Tell us that we're going to smoke Portland.
I mean, I haven't even looked at it, but I would assume. I mean, Portland needs to win more than us is the problem. So I've been super high on the Nuggets the last two games. I'm probably off a little tomorrow. We may lay a little stinker tomorrow, I think.
I wonder if Denver's going to sit like Jokic and MPJ.
They could easily tomorrow.
Well, I mean, why
sit
not?
Everybody.
Don't get injured.
Sit everybody.
Don't do something dumb. Don't make it like this.
Aren't they already sitting everyone though? Like,
I know, right?
Troy Daniels, stock up.
Troy
I see
Daniels
DraftKings going to throw me at Bull line. If Bull's worth like 4.5 points tomorrow, I'm taking the over. He's gonna. Tomorrow, we've had a good run of 2 games in a row. If we get tomorrow, Bull just destroying Nurkic, I'm for it. Let's
Adam.
The bar might burn down tomorrow.
Calm down, dude.
I don't want to set the bar too high, but Bull, go out and dominate Nurkic in your first first real start. Thanks so much to Tony. Thanks so much to all the viewers, guys, that were tuning in. These Winners Lounges are so much fun. We're going to obviously be doing these nonstop. Tomorrow, we're from the bar. We're from the DNVR bar. Night game. It's going to be a good time. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Peace.
Do. Oh, this is so fun.